So, everybody, just want to get on here and update everybody on the sculpt real quick. You might notice my voice has changed. I no longer sound like a 70-year-old homeless chain smoker. I've what you call it? I've done some voice maxing. Some voice exercises, which really improves the quality of my voice and how it sounds overall. Anyway, so I would say about I'm 95 to 97% done on this. I have pretty much every detail you could find on the original mask. Now I just need to do some very light touch-up work and some smoothing here and there, primarily around the ears and around the eyes here and there. Just, general touch-ups when you're almost finished with any art project. Now, a lot of hours have been put into this. About 2 months, and this is my very first sculpt, and I gotta say, yeah, I'm very pleased with how it turned out for being my very first. And as a result, and it's not going to be a cheap mask by any means when it's in its final latex, haired, painted, weathered form. But it's not going to be a ridiculously priced mask either. I've pretty much have my prices straight, but which you'll know once this is all said and done. But they're not going to be one of those, masks that you see for $1,000 on eBay that are just kind of ridiculous, the kind of mediocre mask that you'll see at just ridiculous price. No, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be cheap, like I said, but it's going to be a price on there for sure. But it's not going to be a ridiculous price, because mainly I want people to get this mask, display it, and be happy with it and appreciate it for what it is. A original hero Michael Myers mask replica. I want to give to the fans for them to display it, be proud of it, and the work that went into it, and be happy with it, and show it and share it, post it on their Facebook walls, and look back on it and say, "Dang, I got a really nice mask." And that was my goal, because I put my heart and soul into this thing, many hours, because I want to make the Myers community proud, and like I said, display their work and just have fun with it. Just share the good vibe. So I've made I made up a pretty cool name for this. It's called The Void, and since the sculpt is based on how the mask looked in H2, it's gonna be The Void 81, and I plan to make and sculpt a mask that represents more of a 78 version of the mask. Because let me recap some history for those that don't know. So they found this Captain Kirk mask. It's based off. It's a life cast of William Shatner. That's what the mask originally was. And Nick Castle, the very first person to play as Michael Myers, had a long head with really long curly hair. And when he wore the mask in the movie, he stretched the Captain Kirk mask vertically, so it stretched it out, kind of made it have a ghoulish, eerie look to it. The eyes were kind of gaping, and it had its unique kind of look to it. And then next movie in 1981, Dick Warlock was the actor. He was a bit shorter, stockier dude than Nick Castle, and so when he wore the mask, it didn't stretch vertically, but he stretched it horizontally, which gave it more of a menacing look to it. So what happened was the eyes were kind of more closed, but stretched horizontally, which kind of gave it more of a grimacing, menacing look to it. Like, how do I say? It's more like a passive rage kind of look, even though he's emotionless. But it's kind of gives off that very intimidating vibe to it. It's hard to explain, but I think I really captured the look in my sculpt here. Because I sculpted this after pretty much exclusively using reference pictures of the mask, how it looked in H2. And so let me shorten my stick here and show you some angles here. I really like the down angle like this because it kind of reminds me of that scene that you see in the hospital when Myers is walking down the stairs and he's looking upwards or looking straight ahead like this, but you see from this angle from down looking up at the mask and as he's walking down the stairs. I thought that was a really cool scene, and I think I really captured how that looked in my sculpt as well, because I also used the reference picture from that scene, and I think a lot of other people like that scene too. And I've used a lot of different angles to really get the entire 3D down, to get that really 3D look that just pops. And like I said, I still got a little bit of work to do, but I just want to get on here and update everybody since it's been a little while since I posted an update. But here's a side profile shot, and it's pretty accurate. It's an accurate profile of the mask, I do believe. But now I have a really good base. Now I just need to do the little details, little touch-ups, some smoothing. And then the next time you see this, it'll be getting ready for molding. I have 75 pounds of, you can see a little bit detail that I put in, some indents and there, which I'll still need to work on a little bit. Anyway, I have 25 pounds of Ultra Cal 30 cement. I have 50 pounds in here. So that's more than enough to get this going. That's way more than enough to, cover this entire sculpt. And I got some more clay. What I'll do with that is make my mold divider. So you want to mold you want to mold the front separately from the back side, so that way when the mold is dried and set up and hard as a rock, it makes it a lot easier it makes it possible to separate it, because you make your mold divider and where the division is. It's kind of like a dam, that prevents, because when you lay this down, it prevents the excess mold from going to this side, and it just makes a whole mess. So I think this shot looks pretty cool on the side too. I like the side shots of the Michael Myers mask. Yeah, anyway, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. Now, the finished result of these, it's not going to be a cheap mask by any means, but it's not going to be a ridiculous price either. Because ultimately, I want people to have this. Serious collectors. I want them to have this and have a good time with it. Post it on their Facebook walls, share it around with friends and family, scare the living shit out of them, make them piss their pants. That's really what I really want. Just have a good time with it, But it's not going to be cheap either. This isn't cheap work. Oh, I get this done. There it is. There's your mask. No, this is a lot of hours, a lot of dedication, just a whole lot of work and trial and error with this thing. And it's for my very first sculpt too. So I'm very, very pleased with that. I hope everybody else is too, because I want every mask collector who is interested in this to be proud and just have a very badass, kick-ass mask in their collection. That's really what I want out of this. But of course, I want to make a living out of it too. So I mean, there's definitely going to be a price to it. I also got to get new stuff for the materials for this as well. So I mean, obviously it's a business, so it's not gonna be free stuff. As much as I would like to just make infinite copies and just give them out to people, but we're in the real world, so. But man, it's really coming along very nicely. I'll tell you what, though, if anybody can brainstorm a really cool name for this thing, and I think it's better or more catchy than the Void, because that's the name I'm going for. Because that's what Michael Myers represents, just a void of emotions, the rudimentary sense of life or death, good and evil, right from wrong, which he's completely devoid of. He's basically the personification of death itself. So that's where I caught that name from. I'm really surprised that no other mask maker of this gave it that name, because I think that's a very accurate representation of what Myers is and what the mask that he wears represents. But tell me what y'all think. I thought it came out very, very good for an H2. But tell me what y'all think about this. I'd love to hear some feedback before this goes into entombment, which that'll be a temporary mold. The cement mold, it'll be temporary, because what happens is with each pull, you lose a little bit of detail with each latex pull out of the stone mold. So what I'm gonna do is cast this with urethane rubber. It'll be a very sturdy, thick piece of rubber that'll look just like the Sculpt. But I'm gonna make a plastic mold out of that. And the benefit of having a plastic mold, well, there's two benefits that I can think of off the top of my head. One of which is that it'll be a lot lighter than obviously cement, so more portable, more durable, won't crack. And your 100th pull, or even more than that, even your 1,000th pull, will be just as sharp, crisp, and detailed as the very first. So there'll be no degradation of any of the mask that gets pulled out. Each mask will look just as good from the plastic mold. And it's a time tested method. So rest assured, it could be like 5 or even 10 years from now, and I'm still selling these masks. I'll have probably other molds as well for sure by then, because I'm really digging the vibe of this. I really love doing this, so definitely have a lot more going in terms of masks by then. But this will definitely still be in production by then. So anybody from the future, this mask will more likely be available if anybody's interested. But yeah, the Void 81. Before I get this sculpted and everything, I'll put it in the light there and do a really cool display of it. I have mohair coming. It's really cool mohair, very accurate mohair, and it'll be painted, weathered, and haired just to look just like a H2. So that'll be very exciting. I have some experience with weathering Michael Myers mask, so that'll be no issue. Other than that, I pretty much have nothing else to say. But I just want to show it off just one last time before I sign off here. Kind of got this on a tripod right now. Hey, you wanna kind of go for a spin? Nobody ever does this. Watch this. Yeah. Going on a little ride there. Whee! I love having fun. Sometimes a little. I like to have a little bit too much fun, but there you go. Oh yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm rambling here. I'm gonna sign off.